Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today we are doing a 10-team draft recap that me and my dad did together. We're on the same team. And in this video, I'm going to talk about every single pick, and I'm going to give teams draft grades at the end so you guys can get a better idea of what to do. So this is a 10-team standard league, like I said, also up above in the title or down below, depending how you're watching this. I'm not too sure. So before I start the video, I'd like to ask you guys, could please click that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. It's also going to mean a lot to you because I'm going to help you guys dominate your fantasy football draft. And then once we get to the regular season, I'll help you dominate the regular season and then the postseason. And then we're going to win the whole goddamn shebang thing. You're going to kiss your fantasy football trophy. Mwah, mwah, you know what I'm saying? And then once you win that fantasy football trophy, if you don't already have one, you're going to need to buy one, right? So you're going to go down below and you're going to look in the description. You're going to see this website called fantasybros.com, my sponsor. If you use code Notorious at checkout, you get 5% off of everything. So hopefully you guys do that, and let's get right into the video. So like I said, this is a 10-team standard league, and me and my dad did this together. It's kind of a team thing here. It's a big money league. Me and my dad discussed every single pick, and then we made the picks. My dad's been playing fantasy longer than me, obviously, because I am 20 years old, and he is far older than me, because he's an old fuck. And I only said that because he's watching it. So, all right, the first round. The first pick of the first round was Mr. Alvin Camara. Now, typically you're going to be seeing Saquon go at 1, but I mean, Saquon, CMC, AK, any of those guys are going to typically go around the 1 mark. So, first pick was Alvin Camaro, followed by Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and then Chubb. Now, Yahoo has Chubb ranked ahead of David Johnson, so I'm thinking that's why a lot of people are picking Chubb at the 4 slot on Yahoo. Now, I think that, honestly, Chubb could be a top 5 guy, so I see why people are so high at him. I'd prefer to wait on him because I feel like you can get him later in every single format except for Yahoo. And Yahoo, he just seems to go way earlier than like NFL or ESPN or even in your at-home league like drafting on a fucking board. So, if you need a board, check down in the description for my sponsor. So, you know. All right, so the fourth pick was Nick Chubb, and the fifth pick was DJ, followed by D Hop, Connor, Dalvin Cook, Lev Bell, Zeke. Pretty typical. This literally looks just like if it was PPR, half PPR. It doesn't matter what it is. It looks standard. It looks weird, and whatever. It doesn't really matter because a lot of these drafts, whether it's PPR or standard, are going to be very similar at the beginning of the draft, and then later you'll see a lot less of the value on the pass catching backs. You're going to see them go a lot later than normal. So that is the first round. Zeke went at the 10. Typically, Zeke goes higher than that, but a lot of people are scared of Zeke. They don't know if he's coming back week 1. I don't know if he's coming back week 1 because I am not part of the Cowboys organization. So, like I said, Zeke went at the 10 spot, so we're going to begin the second round here. We selected James Conner at the 7th pick. I personally believe he was the best player available. I like him more than Bell in a standard league. I think he's going to run the ball a lot, and I know that he's going to be a straight up Bell cow. I think Le'Veon Bell could also be that for the Jets, but they also have Mr. Adam Gase, that kooky motherfucker, so I don't really know if I love him. I've drafted Bell before, but I don't necessarily love Gase as a Dolphins fan. So after at the beginning of the second round begins with Devontae Adams, great value at the beginning of the first round, followed by Pat Mahomes. Now, this is a 6 point per passing touchdown league. Would I pull the trigger on Mahomes that early? No. Will someone do it? Yes. After that, Michael Thomas, and then we went with Joe Mixon. Our team name is Luca Brazzi. We went with Joe Mixon to pair with Mr. James Conner. Two, in my opinion, top 10 running backs in pretty much every single format. And in standard, Joe Mixon's great, just like in PPR, so I liked his value there. After we went with Mixon, now we have 2 backs, like I said. Julio came off the board, followed by OBJ, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then Travis Kelce, first 10 end off the board, followed by Tyreek Hill, Aaron Jones. Very early for Aaron Jones, in my opinion. I would take Carry on over him, Damien over him. I don't love Gurley because of that knee arthritis, but I would have taken him over him too. So that is the end of the second round. First 10 off the board, Kelce. Typically, you're going to see Kelce go in the first or second round, and then you're going to see Ertz, Kittle come slightly later in this draft. They came even faster than normal, and you would not like that to be coming that fast. So in the third round, began with Todd Gurley, followed by Damian Williams, and then George Kittle, and then Carry on, Chris Carson, Keenan Allen, and then Mike Evans is who we went with. I think Mike Evans is going to be phenomenal this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be playing a lot from behind. They're going to be slinging the ball, and Mr. Famous Jameis loves throwing the ball to Mike Evans. Mike Evans got 1,500 yards last year, I believe, quiet 1,500 yards, dead silent. I didn't even know that shit happened because that's how crazy it was, and I think Mike Evans can do that again this year. So, after we went with Mr. Michael Evans, Zach Ertz came off the board, so now all the big 3 tight ends are already gone by the end of the third round, followed by AB and Leonard Fournette. So the fourth round begun. with Amari Cooper, followed by Melvin Gordon. Now, I've seen Melvin Gordon go very late in some drafts, and I've seen him go as early as like the third or fourth round in other drafts. It all depends on what the owner believes that is going to draft him. This guy has to believe Melvin Gordon will be back in a couple of weeks, or even week one. I personally believe maybe 8 weeks, but who really knows? So I'm avoiding Melvin Gordon as well, followed by Derrick Henry, another guy I'm avoiding. So with our fourth round selection, we went with Josh Jacobs. So our team is currently James Conner. We have James Conner, Mixon, Mike Evans, and Josh Jacobs. I like Josh Jacobs a lot. I would have preferred to get Chris Carson, but he was already gone. So I just went with one of my favorite rookie running backs. I also like David Montgomery, but I honestly think at the end of the year, Josh Jacobs and him are going to be very close. And I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a lot more opportunity to get like a shit ton of touches, like 300 touches or 250 touches, because he's on an offense that is going to run the ball a lot with him to get to make them scared or less scared of AB. So after we went today, Junior, you dumb motherfucker. After Josh Jacobs came Devontae Freeman, followed by Sony Michel, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Marlon Mack, Demont, so pretty normal fourth round. And the fifth round begins with Tyler Lockett, a wide receiver I really like. T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton's value has fallen a lot. Typically, you're seeing him go around the third or fourth round, now into the fifth, due to the fact that Andrew Luck decided that he was done. He said, fuck it, and he retired. So, after T.Y., Stefan Diggs came out the board, followed by Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Deshaun Godwin is getting drafted. He looks in Yahoo. I feel like they showed him in the fourth round where he should be picked, which I guess is kind of his value. But in a 10-team league, he just seemed like he was positioned so high for what you're getting for him. So after Godwin came out the board, then Brandon Cooks came out the board, followed by the second quarterback, Deshaun Watson. And then we went with Julian Edelman. Now, I know Julian Edelman's dealing with that injury. Reports are he's fine. He's A-okay, so we went with Edelman. After Edelman, Aaron Rodgers came off the board, followed by O.J. Howard and Philip Lindsay. So now three quarterbacks have already been off the board. We got Mahomes, Watson, and Rodgers by the fifth round. Pretty typical. The sixth round begins with the fourth quarterback off the board of Baker Mayfield. Mr. Dangerous Man. Your mom's box has declared that he is feeling fucking dangerous. After that, Cooper Kupp came out the board, followed by Mark Ingram. And then we went with Matty Ice. Now, this is a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Matt Ryan will be a top 5 guy, and I just love the value of Matt Ryan in the sixth round. We didn't have to pay the fifth round price for him. We already got our 3 running backs, our 2 wideouts, and I felt comfortable going Matt Ryan here in the sixth round. After I went with Matt Ryan, Josh Gordon came out the board. Flash Gordon, savior of the universe, creeping up the draft boards. I said he was going to go around like the 7th round or the 6th round, and it seems like I was right because that's about where he's going. After Jacobs came out the board, Kenny Galladay came out the board, followed by Evan Ingram. Now notice his name is Big Blue. A lot of this league, Jets, Giants fans, we are all from the same area of New York, New Jersey, where people like these Giants and Jets players. And a lot of people overvalue them. In your league, you may be playing with some guy who's a big cheesehead, and they draft Aaron Rodgers in the first round because people are fucking crazy. So after we went with Evan Ingram, Miles Sanders came out the board, followed by A-Rob, who I don't like, and then Tevin Coleman. The seventh round has commenced, and Latavius was the first pick, followed by Carson Wentz or Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, very early for Brady, and then Duke Johnson, who I wanted, and we didn't end up getting, so we went with Kenyon Drake, due to the fact that he's going to be fine after that boot injury. He's or his foot injury. He's in the walking boot now, out of the walking boot, practicing fine. He is our fourth running back, so I'm not too pissed off having Kenyon Drake as my fourth running back. As you guys can see, after we went with Matt Ryan, if we hadn't have waited 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks went, so we would not have gotten Matt Ryan. We would have been stuck waiting later into the draft to get our quarterback. So, after we went with Drake, Mike Williams came out the board, followed by Sterling Shepard, and then Hunter Henry, very typical. Now, the 8th round begun with an absolute shocker. My fucking brain was absolutely blown into smithereens after this motherfucker picked Chicago defense. This man won last year, and he said, fuck it, I want the Chicago Bears defense. Would I do that? No. Should you do that? No. Having the best defense doesn't really matter because you can just stream defenses, guys. I explain this in every single video. All you got to do is find a good defense for week 1, then you drop them. And then week 2, you had the best defense playing against a shitty offense week 2. Not very complicated. So after we went with the Bears, or after the Bears were selected, Cohen came out the board, followed by DJ Moore. And then we went Jared Cook, solidified our tight end position. I thought that the tight ends would go fast since a lot of them went fast. Henry already gone, O.J. Howard. So I went with Cook, a guy I think that has potential top 5 upside as long as Drew Brees feeds him that ball. After we went with Cook, James White came off the board in the 8th round, honestly, of a non-PPR league. I guess the value is still good because he goes around the 6th round of a PPR league. So after James White came off the board, Njoku came off the board, followed by Tyler Boyd, Jags defense, then the Los Angeles Rams. These motherfuckers are on some shit. 3 defenses in the 8th round. Do not do that. Followed by Tony Pollard. Not even the Zeke owner decided to say, fuck it, I'm handcuffing Zeke. Good play in my opinion. Not in the 8th round, in the 10th round, or the 11th round, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do if you think Zeke's going to be out 8 games potentially, or however many games you think Zeke's going to be out. So then round 9 commenced with D.D. Westbrook, followed by Will Fuller, and then the first kicker off the board, Greg. The legs are lined very early. Don't go a kicker or a defense for the last 2 rounds, or if you're being a little bit generous, maybe the last 3 rounds because you want to get the best kicker or something. Who knows? And then after Greg Zuerlein came out the board, the Vikings came out the board. Defense, do not do that, followed by Robbie Anderson, Cam Newton, and then we went with Calvin Ridley to pair with Matt Ryan. I believed he was the best wide receiver still on the board. I do not mind Jarvis, but I wanted to go with Calvin Ridley to pair with Matt Ryan in case I need to start him as my flex. So after we went with Calvin Ridley, Alshon came out the board, followed by Jarvis, and then Darius Geis. 10th round commenced. Kyler Murray came out the board. So guys, what you need to understand is teams in this league are taking 2 quarterbacks. I believe every single team took 2 quarterbacks. So that's why we will eventually take one later in the draft, because then the quarterbacks on the waiver wire are not as good, and I saw potential to get 2 top 10 guys, in my opinion, in 6 point per passing touchdown that are late round guys, and you will see that coming up. So Kyler Murray came at the board at the beginning of the 10th, followed by AJ Green, Matt Breida, the guy I really wanted there. We got sniped 1 pick before, so we ended up with Austin Eckler, who I don't really mind because while Melvin Gordon's gone, he's going to be very useful. And when Melvin Gordon comes back, he'll still be kind of useful. I wouldn't love starting him, especially in a 10-team league, but while Melvin Gordon's gone, I wouldn't hate it, even though we already have great running back depth. So after we went with Eckler, Austin Hooper came out the board, followed by Baltimore Ravens defense, Devin Singletary, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitz, Curtis Samuel. These rounds have been pretty normal. Nothing really out of the ordinary besides all these defensive picks. No one's really reaching super high for guys besides the defenses and Tony Pollard. Everything else was pretty typical. After the beginning of the 11th round started with Emmanuel Sanders, followed by AP, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Howard, Harrison Bucker, Chargers, Marvin Jones, not Cleveland, New England, Balaj, and Pettis. So we went with Marvin Jones there. I thought he was the best wide receiver still available. I think, in my opinion, Marvin Jones and Galladay, who are both on Detroit, could probably finish seeing similar production towards the end of the year. Now, if one of them gets hurt, obviously that's derailed, but I'm not taking injuries into account when I'm talking about that. I think Marvin Jones and Galladay could finish near each other with like 180 points, both solid options at PPR. And especially being my like 4th wide receiver and a guy that I will barely ever have to start because I already have those elite guys. And if they were to go down, I wouldn't necessarily hate starting Marvin Jones. So the 12th round begun with Vance McDonald. So guys, at this point, I honestly regretted going with Jared Cook so early, knowing I would have been able to get Vance in the 11th round, and I could have went with a better wide receiver, and I probably would have liked the team slightly more. But I thought that the tight ends were going fast and hard, and they were not going to be there for me in the 12th or 11th round. After Vance came out the board, Mr. Goff came out the board, followed by Rivers, and then we went with Darwin Thompson, the handcuff for D'Angelo Williams. No, not D'Angelo. Damian Williams, sorry. We didn't draft Damian, but Darwin Thompson's is one of those guys that is a top tier cuff. Not even much of a cuff because he will get playing time. I wouldn't love playing him when Damian Williams is not on the or is on the field, but who knows? We'll see what really happens in a real game week 1. He's a solid grab in the 12th round. I would have went with Justin Jackson, but we already had Eckler, and I felt confident in just having Eckler. So after we went with Darwin Thompson, Rolls Royce came out the board, followed by Big Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy Guap, Corey Davis, Golden Tate, Dak Prescott. So like I said, guys, a lot of teams are taking 2 quarterbacks. So the 13th round begun. Cowboys defense came out the board, one of those defenses that I'm really targeting, if I'm being honest with you, because I like their early season matchup. Now, if you check out my video from a few days ago, it's called Defenses to Draft, I believe, and the number 1 defense is the Cowboys because they have the Giants week 1, and then they have the Redskins, and then they have the Dolphins. Now, I don't know how the Dolphins are going to be, if I'm being honest. If it's like Fitzpatrick going crazy, maybe not start him against the Dolphins, but that's pretty good first 3 matchups. After Dallas came out the board, Kiss and Titty Trubisky, followed by Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Delaney Walker, and then when Justin Tucker came off the board, so we went with Will Lutz. Obviously, like I said, typically you want to go with a kicker and defense in the last 2 rounds, but I wanted to get that good kicker on my team. I know having the best kicker doesn't really affect the game, but having a guy that I know that will be good week in, week out, and Will Lutz made me feel pretty confident. The GOAT Stephen Gotowski came after that, followed by Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron's value has plummeted straight into the goddamn toilet. He was a guy that you were seeing flying off the board in like the 5th round. Now he's going near undrafted in the 13th round in a 15 round league. After Ebron came out the board, Mr. Moncrief came out the board in the 14th round. Begun. Lesean Mccoy was the first selection, followed by Kaimi Fairbairn, Rashad Penny, and we went with famous Jameis to back up our starting quarterback, who is Mr. Matty Ice. Now, I wanted to go with a different guy, but they had the same buys. It was Jared Goff, so I was like, fuck it, we'll just go with famous Jameis because they had if your two quarterbacks have the same buy, that's fucking dumb. So after we went with famous Jameis, Greg the Leg Olsen, or Greg Third Leg Olsen, I should say. Drop my drawers, let her see my third leg. G-Reg, third leg. You know what? If you guys have seen that video, you know what I'm fucking talking about. So after we went, Greg Olsen came out the board, the Cleveland Browns defense, the defense I was targeting, came out the board, followed by Jason Myers, Darrell Henderson, Darren Waller, a guy that's a huge sleeper tight end. If you just decided to fall asleep, pick a tight end late, Darren Waller could be a guy having huge value on Oakland. You saw last year, Jared Cook was pretty much the only useful player on the Raiders. Oh, sorry guys, that is a Steam notification. Let me close out of Steam. Okay. So after Darren Waller came out the board, Jack Doyle came out the board, and then the 15th round began with Giorgio Trevecchio, Matt Prater, Houston, Boykin, Crosby, bunches of funches who has no hands, and then we've selected the Philadelphia defense. The Philadelphia defense are playing Washington week 1. Washington is not that good of an offense. I believe Case Keenum will throw some picks, and then if they put Haskins in the game, Haskins will get sacked. I mean, the Redskins are really just not that good. And then Kyle the Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer, came out the board. New Orleans defense, and then Mr. Irrelevant, Chris Boswell. So that is the end of the draft portion of the video. So if you have enjoyed, you've got some information, your head, you're feeling amazing. You're like, God damn, Nick just taught me what to do. He gave me a breakdown on a lot of these players. Thank you, Nick. I love you. You know, maybe you don't actually love me. I'm just kidding. But you can click that subscribe button if you have enjoyed thus far. It would really mean a lot to me. And it would also mean a lot to you because, like I said at the beginning of the video, you guys are going to dominate your whole goddamn league. So now we're going to get into the portion where I break down each and every single team and give them a draft grade. So, first team, Mr. Pickup. They went with Alvin Camara with the first selection, followed by Aaron Jones, Todd Gurley, David Montgomery, Tyler Lockett, Tevin Coleman, Latavius Murray, Pollard, D.D. Westbrook, Curtis Samuel, Emmanuel Sanders, Dak, Dallas, Jack Doyle, Trevecchio. Okay, now this team used the strategy that I like to use where you draft 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs in a row, except for this is a league where you can only start 2 running backs and then 1 at the flex. This strategy is pants on the head, the R word. You know what I'm saying? It is absolutely so stupid that you would even do that. Do not do that, okay? It's just stupid. So, and then he went with Lockett, right? And you're thinking, holy shit, now he's going to get his second wide receiver. Nope, he said, fuck it. 1, 2, 3 running backs, bike to bike. And now his second wide receiver is D.D. Westbrook. Now, I don't hate D.D. Westbrook, but I'd rather him be my flex, not my wide receiver too. So I don't really love that. And then, or Curtis Samuel. And then he ends up with Dak at quarterback in a 6-point per passing touchdown league without Zeke potentially for the first couple of weeks. Very worrisome. This team, if this was a 2 flex league where you can start 2 running backs and then 2 running backs of your flex, this team's an A plus. Right now, I'm looking at this team is a C minus, D plus. I don't see what the fuck's gonna happen. You're gonna have to trade a bunch of guys, your running backs, to get receivers. I do not like it. Team 2, ass cookies, went with Saquon with their first pick, being the second pick actually. Second round, coming back with Tyreek Hill, Damian Williams, Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton. Went with double Indianapolis there on a team that's looking to be worse than last year. Don't love that. Followed by A-Rob, who I don't like. Carson Wentz, who I don't really like. Los Angeles defense too early, so that detracts like a whole letter grade there. If he was going to get an A, now it's a B. You can't be drafting a defense in the 8th round. Followed by Will Fuller, my bad. Larry Fitz, AP, Golden Tate, Kiss and Titty Trubisky, Darren Waller, Matt Prater. Overall, this team is not terrible. They have some solid running backs, solid receivers. Will their depth be there? Don't really have too many depth running backs. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs on their squad. I don't love doing that. This team's a C, C minus, not really good. This is a 10-team league, guys. It's not that hard to draft. This team did not draft well. Team number 3, Italia numero uno. First pick went with Christian McCaffrey, followed by Travis Kelce, and then George Kittle, Adam Thielen, Diggs, Sanders, who I like, Russell Wilson, Jacksonville defense early for defense again, Greg Zuerlein way too early for kicker, Christian Kirk, Lamar Jackson, Corey Davis, Mark Andrews, Darrell Henderson. This team yet again has little running backs. Let's see, we got 1, 2, a 3, a 3 running backs, 2 tight ends. Call me fucking crazy, but this team sucks my ass. I don't like this team either. Now, if Kelce and Kittle can perform, and one of them's your flex, go ahead. But I think you should have went with a skill position there instead of Kittle, running back or wide receiver. Overall, this team, I don't hate it as much as the other team, but they also only have 3 running backs. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing. What the fuck is wrong with these people? C- again. Team Big Blue with the 4th selection went with Chubb, followed by a little early for Chubb, in my opinion, IMO, followed by Juju Smith-Schuster, Kerryon Johnson, Robert Woods, Chris Godwin, Evan Engram, Drew Brees, Tyler Boyd, Minnesota D, a little early for that defense. Devin Singletary, Jordan Howard, Jimmy Garoppolo, TJ Hawkinson, Jason Myers, and Miles Boykin. We got to count the running backs. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Okay, so this running back is going to be irrelevant a couple weeks into the season. Who knows what Devin Singletary will be? I like Singletary's value if Lesean Mccoy was to get hurt or something, or if he can just somehow emerge past him. I don't like this team either. Their starters are pretty good, if I'm being honest with you. Having Chubb, Juju, their just depth is bad. This team is a B-, pretty solid squad. Probably one of the best squads we have seen. Probably the best squad we've seen up to this point. New York Jets, Z-Lot with the 5th pick, went with DJ, which is quite the fucking steal. Should have been DJ at 4, followed by OBJ, Chris Carson, Sony Michel, great start, Brandon Cooks, Galladay, Brady. Way too early for Brady, in my opinion. Don't love his value in the 7th round. Even a 6-point per passing touchdown league where he does throw a lot of touchdowns, I don't love it. Followed by after Brady, Njoku came off the board, followed by Roby Anderson. Baltimore defense, Harrison Butker too early for kicker and defense, 10th and 11th. Wait till the 13th at least. Big Ben, I don't love Big Ben this year all that much. Maybe he'll be good, but I mean, he's your backup for Brady. Now you're going to be fucking trying to figure out who to start every week and fuck your team completely over when you don't necessarily just have one starter and one guy you're going to play 1 week on bye, unless you're just playing the matchup. But even then, you're probably going to get it wrong because Brady and Ben probably this year won't be all that great. Followed by Delaney Walker, Cleveland defense, Mason Crosby. So let me tell you what I just witnessed here, guys. Fellas, women, there may be a woman watching this video. Do not draft 2 kickers or 2 defenses. All right, I just noticed that now. This team is a fucking F. They started off well. 2 quarterbacks, which I don't love doing, even though I did it. I don't. 2 defenses gets you like -2 grades. 2 kickers, -2 grades again. Fucking F. I don't know what that is. Don't do that, guys. Do not do that. You messed up, Ron. He did mess up, okay? Pick 6, D-Hop. And then they went with Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, Devontae Freeman, Deshaun Watson, Josh Gordon, Duke Johnson, James White, Cam Newton, Austin Hooper, LA Rams, Royce Freeman, Justin Tucker, Greg Olsen, Devin Bunches of Funches. So, this team overall pretty good. Has their 2 wide receivers and their flex are amazing. D-Hop, Julio, and Keenan Allen. Then they went risky. They were feeling a bit dangerous. Went with Devontae Freeman, who's not very. They were feeling dangerous. He's not very consistent because of that injury risk. He's scary to me due to the fact that he's injury prone. And then Deshaun Watson came off the board. Okay, kind of fine team overall. I don't know. Did I even go over the whole team? I think I did. Shit, did I? I don't know. After Deshaun Watson, Josh Gordon came off the board, followed by Duke Johnson, James White, Cam Newton, Austin Hooper, Chargers D, Royce Freeman, Tucker, Olsen, Funches. This team's not that bad, if I'm being honest with you. They went defense too early, but overall, still pretty solid. They don't really have that good of running backs, which would be a scary thing to have in a standard league, so I don't really love this team, but I mean, it's better than some of them. C+. Okay, now for our team. Me and my father's team. Pick 7. Me and my dad. James White, we went with, followed by Mixon, Mike Evans, Josh Jacobs, Edelman, Matt Ryan, Kenyon Drake, Jared Cook, Calvin Ridley, Austin Eckler, Marvin Jones, Darwin Thompson, Will Lutz, Jameis Winston, and then Philadelphia defense. Now, like I said, I'd give this team probably a B plus, only because I think it's going to end up being the best team here. But at the exact same time, if I went with, or if we went with Cook, or we didn't go with Cook and went with another backup running back or another wide receiver there that I would have liked to have, and then we went with Mr. Vance later, I would have liked the team a lot better, and it would have been that A. Right now, it's a B plus, A minus type team for me. After the eighth team is GFY. They went with Dalvin Cook, Michael Thomas, Zach Ertz, Derrick Henry, Aaron Rodgers, Mark Ingram, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Breida, Patriots D, Philip Rivers, Gostowski, Penny, Rudolph. Okay, so they didn't do anything super fucked up where they got just two kickers, two defenses. Their starters are pretty good. I don't trust Henry or Mark Ingram. Overall, though, the team has some solid depth. They got Penny, they got Breida, they've got some solid wideouts. This team is definitely overall pretty good. B overall. I like their starters a lot, and their bench is not too shabby. I really wanted Matt Breida, but like I said, he didn't fall to us. He was picked 93. We had picked 94. The three-time champ who didn't even win last year. All right. He went with Le'Veon, followed by Pat Mahomes. Don't love going Mahomes that early. I'm going to be honest, that docks you some points. It is a 6-point per passing touchdown league, but you probably could have waited into the third round if I'm being completely fucking honest. Then, AB came off the board, followed by Melvin Gordon, OJ Howard, Cooper Kupp, Sterling Shepard, Tariq Cohen, Jarvis Landry, AJ Green, Kalen Ballage, Goff, who I wanted to be my backup quarterback, but, he had the same bye as Mr. Matt Ryan. And then after Goff, Ebron, Kyle Fairbairn, New Orleans defense. So this guy followed the correct structure, getting a kicker and a defense in the last 2 rounds. We went with the last 3 rounds because, we were feeling a bit dangerous, but that's typically the formula for success. Now, Melvin Gordon is a huge concern. If he doesn't play for 8 weeks, your fourth round pick is irrelevant for 8 weeks. Should have drafted Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson's still available on the waiver wire. I would go pick him up if I was him. I don't think he watches my videos, so it's okay. He won't know. Overall, this team is pretty solid. 1, 2, 3. I don't love the running backs because Melvin Gordon's going to be out, so you're going to be stuck with Cohen and Le'Veon. Overall, team isn't too terrible, though. This is a B minus squad overall. Now we're at the 10th and final team, your mom's box. Zeke and then Davante Adams, great start to the draft. If Zeke comes back, amazing start. If Zeke holds out for a bit, looking fucking risky. But I mean, he fell to the 10th spot. It feels once you're sitting there at the 10th spot, you feel your fucking asshole like pucker and you're like, God damn, I think I need to take Ezekiel Elliott, and you just do it. That's just what's gonna happen. And then after Zeke, Davante Adams came out the board, followed by Fournette, Cooper, Lindsey. So 3 picks in a row I don't like. I don't like Fournette. Don't like Cooper due to that heel injury. Don't love Lindsey. And then Baker Mayfield, pretty solid in the 6th round. I like Baker. Hunter Henry. Chicago defense way too early. Deducts you some points there. Definitely. Darius Geis. Kyler Murray as your second quarterback. A little early for a second quarterback. Wanted Kyler. Went with Kyler. Dante Pettis. I wanted Vance McDonald, but obviously I pulled the trigger too early. And then Dante Moncrief. Lesean Mccoy at least waited to the last round to get their kicker. This team's probably going to end up being pretty solid. Even though I don't love Cooper, he'll still have some huge games. Don't love Lindsey, probably still going to end up being consistent. Overall, this team's pretty good. They have the best defense, which really doesn't mean shit because the Bears might get their asshole destroyed by the Davante Adams or the Aaron Rodgers led Green Bay Packers week 1, and you're just going to feel stupid drafting them in the 8th round at the beginning. So overall, this team's probably a B. So thank you guys. Not a B, not Antonio Brown, just a B. B, like as in B, okay? So thank you guys all for fucking watching. I hope you had a great goddamn day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you motherfuckers later or tomorrow. Goodbye.